What is up, inhabitants of Penguin Village? This is your resident Dr. Senbei Norimaki, otherwise known as Dr. Slump, and today I'm here to bring you another video review of Dragon Ball Z Kai. This time it's going to be episode 111, and in this week's episode, Android 18 definitely struggles in her fight with Mighty Mask. This week's episode started off kind of meh, because we jump into this episode where we see Deborah charging for 3 or 4 minutes. And it's basically, literally, no dialogue, just him charging and him having the scene of the meditation room, him being there and just sitting in the same position. And just reused animation from last week's episode, which I really didn't like because it feels like the more I go on in this arc, it's really just becoming more and more filler moments. Because I think that they're trying to not use as much material so they can basically widen out the episode. They can widen out the episode with as little material as possible and therefore keep it true to the manga, but at the same time, a pace where they can profit off of. You see what I'm saying? So in this week's episode, we see more of that those filler moments in the very beginning especially. And after that, we see that Mighty Mask and Android 18 are having their fight, and Android 18 is rivaling Mighty Mask. She's doing rather well until Goten and Trunks start getting a little bit more serious, and they start moving around and trying to punch 18, which actually works. They actually get a punch off on her, but it really doesn't faze her that much. They continue the fight, and they are not able to really get that much of a clean hit on her. They're not able to damage her that much. So they have this brief little conversation like, Goten says, "Oh, you should really land a punch, Trunks." And Trunks looks down at Goten and says, "Well, I'm doing the best I can up here. You haven't even let in one kick yet." And Goten's like, "I can barely see. What am I supposed to do?" And Trunks is like, "I'll give you something if you just land a kick on her or something. Help me out." And Goten's like, "Really? You promise? All right." And he says he'll do it. So they proceed to fight Android 18 in a very nonsensical manner. Their moves confuse her. And they basically, Goten lands a kick and Trunks lands a punch. And they send her flying to the tournament grounds. And she is able to levitate in midair and stop herself from hitting the ground. And she goes back up there and she's doing okay, but she's still not able to land a clean hit. She's still getting hit by Mighty Mask, and before you know it though, she finally deciphers a way to hit him, and she slams him into the ground, and they're unable to stop their collision with the ground like she was. So while they're on the ground, they have this conversation that Goten wants to switch, and he wants to fight Android 18 on top now. And they do so, and he starts confusing the crap out of 18. I mean, it looks like nonsense when he's flying around in circles. He just is throwing her off. He's just flying around in one continuous circle, not knowing when he's going to attack. Android 18 doesn't know, so she's unable to predict him. And when they charge at her, she manages to avoid Goten's punch, but she's not able to avoid Trunks' kick, and it devastates her. That kick to the gut devastates her, and she's blown back by another kick by Trunks. So she stops herself in midair and is amazed at how powerful they are. And she tries to hold her ground against another flurry of attacks, but it's not working in this fight. She is absolutely getting pummeled. And out of desperation, she throws a chi blast at them to get them to stop. Now, it looks like 18 is going to lose the fight, but then Android 18's daughter, Marin, says, "Mama, I know you can do this. Let's go." And Android 18's like, "Yosh!" Or, "Okay, let's do this." And she just starts going faster, with faster flurries than ever before, and she's able to land a punch to the face with Goten. She's able to hit him. She's able to land a critical punch to the face and able to slam him back onto the tournament grounds. And this works at stalling them, and they switch again and they try to proceed back up to fight Android 18. And Android 18 tries to hit them with another Chi Blast. This time it's much more ferocious than the last. And basically what happens is that they're able to dodge it, but Mr. Satan, Mr. Satan is blown away by it, and it's so funny to see his expressions when he's blown away by these kind of things, and he's not able to really dodge them, or he gets blown back out of pure luck instead of getting hit by these blasts, and it's so funny to see his reactions to each of these scenarios. So basically, they go back up, and they're squaring off, they're basically engaging in a stare down, and Trunks and Goten have the bright idea to go Super Saiyan. So they do go Super Saiyan, in fact, and they prepare a Chi Blast so they could hit Android 18. And they said not at full power, so we don't have to so we don't kill her. And he said, no, I won't kill her, it's number 18. And Android 18's like, now I know who you are. I finally figured out those short limbs. All of this makes sense, boys. And basically, he prepares to fire, and it is absolutely massive. The explosion from the blast is absolutely massive. It created like a large nuke. Well, a large nuke. It created a nuke. And it was just something astounding to see from Goten and Trunks, how powerful they really are, especially as Super Saiyans. And Android 18 is barely able to dodge the blast, it seems. And she says, that speed, that power, are they really that good? I better end this quick. And she readies a Destructo Disc and splits them in half. And that's the end of Goten and Trunks. They're disqualified. And that's the end of their little journey. So Android 18 now is preparing to fight Mr. Satan, who is now terrified of the chance to fight Android 18 simply because he has no chance. He has no chance at fighting Android 18 because he's just a normal human. He's weak. He has no chance of winning. So now it seems that Android 18 is going to win the tournament. And we see that Goten and Trunks are pretty mad about their loss at Android 18, how it was really bullcrap. And they meet Videl, and they find out about Madoshi Babidi, Majin Buu, and they say they're going to fly to the grounds too. And that's basically where the episode ends. And we actually do get to see the finishing up of Deborah's charging sequence, basically. He's done charging up his ki, and he's ready to fight. And this week's episode is over. And basically, this week's episode, to me, as much as I enjoyed the Android 18 versus Mighty Mask fight, it was an okay fight. Probably some of the best action we've gotten out of the saga. I didn't like the fact that it was one big inconsistency. And this is why. And this is something that I basically was complaining about in last week's episode, the amount of filler. The amount of filler in an episode can really hurt it depending on what you use, what material you put in the episode, especially when it's a fight. You have to be very careful about what filler you put in a fight, otherwise it could lead to an inconsistency. And this is one of those cases. Android 18 should never have been hurt by normal Goten or normal Trunks' punches, ever. She should never have been able to have been hurt by that. They're not near Super Saiyan caliber. If they're anywhere near somebody's caliber and strength, they may be near Frieza's. At base mode, they may be near Frieza's. I'll give them that. But even still, that shouldn't hurt Android 18. That shouldn't even phase her. It really shouldn't. So, because, come on now, let's be real. She was beating a Super Saiyan Vegeta who had no effects on her, and she took blunt punches from this guy, and it wasn't able to face her at all. Vegeta had no chance, so why do Goten and Trunks suddenly have a chance? That makes no sense. So that really did anger me a little bit at this week's episode, that the amount of filler that is in there. The Super Saiyan thing, I completely understand. I completely agree that the Super Saiyan Goten and Trunks should probably be strong enough to rival Android 18 at least, considering the fact that it's a 50 times power boost. So I understand that, but the whole Android 18 versus Mighty Mask base Goten and Trunks thing, I did not like, simply because, well, I liked it. It was a good fight, but I didn't like the fact that it just led to one big inconsistency. I just did not like that. So that was this week's episode in a nutshell. It was basically an F for filler. It really wasn't much at all except for that fight. And this week's episode was really just bullcrap. So that's pretty much the end for this week's episode. I'd like to thank you guys again for watching. Rate, comment, favorite, and subscribe if you so please. And I'll catch you guys next time for another Dragon Ball Kai review. Peace. Have a great day.